Sybil.
I'm Sybil.
And I'm Dad.
And this is a podcast to get Dad back into reading. And it looks like it's going really well because this is our first novel and we'll have to split this up.
Yeah.
So...
Even though this is a slightly shorter novel, we will do this in 2 parts. So we're still giving enough time to it, and we're kind of keeping the episodes around the same length.
And so this is the story written by the fabulous author Neil Gaiman. I'm sure you've heard of him. And it's called Odd and the Frost Giants. So the story starts off with Odd. And his name means the tip of a blade, and it's a lucky name, but he's rather unlucky. Yeah,
so I think in terms of things being unlucky, we've decided that things are so unlucky that we're going to have a little sound to denominate wherever we feel there has been some real sort of A-grade unluckiness. Sorry, Sybil, carry on.
And trust me, there's a lot. All right, so the first unlucky thing is his dad dies, but it's because the pony man?
The man who looks after the ponies on the Viking longship in the raiding party, Olaf the Tall, he gets killed by a Scotsman. Nightmare. So now, Odd's dad, who I'm not sure what his job was before, he's a woodcutter.
So like a carpenter, and he gets he dies because one of the ponies had been thrown off board, or just fell off board, on the way home, and so he jumped in to save them. But unfortunately, the next morning, we assume he got something like pneumonia-ish, because in the story it says the next morning he died from the wet and the cold in his lungs.
Yeah. So there's our first sad klaxon. So Odd, in tribute to his dad, the village is very, very surprised at how Odd reacts to this. He doesn't seem to show much of a reaction. He smiles at everything, and he just keeps smiling, and the villagers find it really, really odd. Even though his name doesn't mean that in Norse, the villagers do find him our modern idea of Odd. So Odd takes his father's axe, which is almost as big as him, and almost too big for him to carry, and he admits to his mum later that maybe he should have started with a slightly smaller axe and a slightly smaller tree to chop down.
Maybe he would have thought that before.
Yeah, so he manages to get his leg trapped under a falling tree. In all fairness, he's managed to cut down a tree.
That's impressive.
It is impressive, however, the leg trapped under the tree that kind of takes away from that impressiveness. I feel like that pride's short-lived.
You have to like push it that way, not that way.
Yeah,
you have to do it that way.
In terms of our audio medium that we're now working in, Sybil pointed away from her, meaning that she would do a better job at woodcutting than Odd, at least in the logical sense.
At least with a smaller axe.
Yeah.
Right, so the next unlucky.
So a tree falls on his leg. That's sad alarm number 1. Odd then manages to dig out his leg by using the axe to dig the snow out from underneath it, and makes himself a crutch, and manages to hobble back to the village.
This guy's impressive. I mean his leg just like pretty much all the bones in his leg just got crushed, and he's up making a crutch.
Yeah, Odd shows a lot of resilience, but I feel that he's painted as a character that doesn't really get fazed by anything.
He's very his face looks very optimistic.
Yeah,
but on the inside,
he seems to always be smiling at whatever situation he's in. So we fast forward a little bit. Odd's mum, who is a Scottish woman who was taken back to Scandinavia by Odd's dad, she marries the wonderfully named Fat Elfred. That's Elfred with an E. So Fat Elfred. It's a rough name to have, really rough. We're going for our Alfred's sad klaxon here comes from the fact that his wife was struck by lightning.
And that's why he married again.
But Alfred brings with him 4 sons and 3 daughters from his previous marriage, and so
It's a lot of children.
a lot of children. I think that's that's too many.
I mean, I've got 7 siblings. I bet at least they're at different houses.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And 4 of them, 3 of them are even at their houses.
Yeah, you don't have to have them all at the same time.
Yeah.
That feels like a bit much. And I'm sort of getting the feeling that within the Viking sort of actual huts and houses that they would live in probably wouldn't be super spacious. Mm-hmm. So Alfred doesn't really have any time for Odd. He's described as amiable, so he's not an unpleasant man, but he just doesn't really have any time for Odd, and Odd finds himself spending more and more time in the Great Forest.
Right, so one thing you'll get to know about Odd is that his least favourite season is winter. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of that in the story. His favourite seasons are spring and summer, spring, summer, and the autumn, which I totally get. And of course, if he hates winter, then he probably hates living in Scandinavia, because
that's a rough place, because that feels like they do winters a bit extra.
Mm-hmm. So in the year that our story takes place, there's a quote: "The winter hung there like an invalid refusing to die." I just love that sentence.
It's really good, isn't it? So we're stuck in this seemingly never-ending winter.
Never-ending Christmas.
Yeah, never-ending Christmas sounds fine, but
the amount of money.
Oh, I'd be very poor very quickly if Christmas was a forever thing.
Yeah, I get, but the children would love it.
Yes.
And so the Viking, every morning, every afternoon, they arrive in the Great Hall, tell jokes, but eventually, as the winter goes on, the jokes get meaner, and they just get on each other's nerves. So Odd decides he's gonna say peace out and leave. So he gets into his warmest clothes, steals a side of smoke-blackened salmon.
Oh, I'm just going to stop you there because that sounds absolutely delicious.
Especially with fried potatoes and asparagus.
Yeah, but stealing a whole side of smoke-blackened salmon is,
crime.
Well, yeah, but yum, very yum.
Your own family. And fire pot, and he goes off with his father's second best axe. Where's his best axe?
Well, I think he's established that he can't really use his father's best axe because that was the one that was too big for him, and he's not really grown that much.
So heads to his father's old woodcutting hut.
Yeah, the woodcutting hut, I think, is one of the coziest feeling places in any book that I've read in my memory. And granted, that's not.
I want to go there.
Not a long memory, but it. Sybil, can you just describe the bit about the woodcutting hut?
Okay, so so basically, as I imagine the hut to be, it's like straw on top, and nice stone on the outside. Mm-hmm. Are pretty standard, but on the inside like fur.
Oh yeah, it does feel like there's going to be a lot of furs around.
Yeah, and I mean, it could hunt maybe. I like the animals. Fireplace? I don't know. So he finds a small lump of wood that his dad started carving, and Dog tries to figure it out. I bet And for smells, I think it smells like straw and pine wood in there, which is probably a pretty standard smell for any hut.
So if we just go back to that lump of wood that he finds, because his dad is
very important.
because his dad was a wood cutter, but he also in his spare time used to carve things, and he used to carve toys for Odd. And his dad used to say that every piece of wood had something in it that was waiting to be carved. And Odd finds this lump of wood, and it's already started to be carved. So you could assume the last thing that Odd's dad carved before he left to go on the raiding party. And so yeah, that's gonna be really significant as we go through.
Yeah. And so he eats smoked salmon and hot berry water.
Yeah, even
I kind of want to taste what would that like.
I think it would potentially be a little bit underwhelming, even though it sounds delicious right there. The idea of being in a little wooden hut, there's a fire going, I'm eating smoked salmon, and I'm drinking hot berry water. In that instance, and I think in that instance only, hot berry water sounds great. All up about that. So this is how Odd. Yeah, it does feel quite Christmas. It's a little bit Christmas coded, hot berry water.
Winter too.
Well, yeah, winter as well. So this is the scene, and Odd goes to sleep, and we go on now onto our next chapter. So our first chapter was called Odd. What's our next chapter called?
The Fox, the Eagle, and the Bear, and it's not just any normal animals. No. So Odd's woken up by a scratching at the door, and he goes and he finds out that it's a fox, and this fox appears to be making a really big show of wanting to be followed. Odd describes it as an animal with a plan, and Odd says, well, I've got no plan, so and hey, it's not every day I get to follow a fox. So the fox leads him somewhere, and on the way they're joined in the sky by an eagle, which Odd thinks seems to be following them. And then they come to a copse of trees, and there is a bear that's got a brown bear that's got its paw stuck in a tree whilst trying to reach another tree that's got honey in it, which is massive Winnie the Pooh vibes. Except it doesn't have yellow fur and a red t-shirt.
No, yes, it is an actual brown bear, but it feels like it feels so Winnie the Pooh. So he's tried to step on one tree to reach the honey, and his foot's gone in. His paw's gone into the tree, and now he's stuck. And Odd thinks this is a bit weird because he expects the bear to be really aggressive, but actually the bear is just kind of looking forlornly at him and making noises that are these sort of humphing noises. So Odd tries to free the bear. He cuts the tree in such a way that it's going to fall away from the bear, which feels like that's growth for Odd, because he didn't do that when he actually chopped down the tree that crushed his leg, but he's learned now. He's managed to not maim the bear, which is wonderful.
Because if he did, there'd be consequences.
There would be consequences, as we'll find out.
There's a fox and there's an eagle there.
Yeah. It's only really at this point that Odd starts to think, hang about, I'm about to free this bear, and I have only one good leg, and it's quite likely this thing is going to eat me. But I think just because it's in Odd's nature, Odd carries on and frees the bear. But it turns out that the bear is way too obsessed with the honey to even be bothered. Once again, that's huge Winnie the Pooh, because I am pretty sure that Winnie the Pooh has never eaten a person.
I'm pretty sure it could, but it's been a bit distracted.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think technically Winnie the Pooh's a teddy, so I don't think it's got teeth. I don't think I've ever seen Winnie the Pooh with teeth in any of the books or the cartoons. That would be unpleasant.
Oh, remember that video we watched online?
Yes, so there is a picture that's on the internet with where Winnie the Pooh looks a bit like a horse with teeth. It's most unpleasant. So Odd Odd feels that he's been very lucky here, and the bear is distracted, and so he goes, "Hey, it's getting dark. I should really go home." However, he has absolutely no idea where he is, because while he was following the fox, he wasn't really paying attention to where he was. Luckily, when he feels that I'm actually going to get eaten by this bear, and he even says to the bear, "Hey, I'm not going to run away. I can't. You might as well eat me." And the bear just bows down and lets Odd go on its back. And then they sort of loping through the forest on the back of a bear, accompanied by the fox and the eagle. And they make it back to the hut, where Odd's going in and the animals are kind of sat there expectedly. And this is where I'm questioning I got the idea that this was a very small hut, but this hut now, Odd lets the animals in, and now this hut has Odd and a bear and a fox and an eagle. And granted, the fox and the eagle aren't taking up too much space, but a bear is not a small animal.
Oh, an eagle's very big.
Oh yeah, eagles are quite big.
All right, so the next chapter is called The Night Conversation. So Odd feeds the three. The eagle seems fine, but the fox and the bear are hungry.
Big stomach differentials there. I mean, in order to feed an eagle and then
That's
to feed... I have to say, I'm not sure what the difference in stomach between an eagle and a fox is, but clearly it must be something there, because the fox is still hungry. But the bear, I mean, the bear's got to have a...
still be hungry.
Big tummy. Bear's got a big tummy. So...
It's like, you know that guy from the Jungle Book?
Oh, Baloo.
Yeah, Baloo.
Yeah, Baloo looks like he eats well. Well, pawpaws and prickly pears, I think, mostly.
Mm-hmm. With a tiny bit of honey.
A tiny bit of honey,
if you can find that.
I think he gets attacked by ants on that one, though. Doesn't he, when he tries to get honey or something sweet, at least?
Yeah. Enough about the Jungle Book. So he says they should sleep, assuming now a level of intelligence from the animals.
Yeah, he starts to talk to them. I think he understands that there is some understanding between them, and this is really the chapter where things start to get more fantastical. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in his dreams he hears voices start with the bear claiming, I don't even know how he knows it's the bear, claiming it wasn't its fault that it got stuck because the honey smelled so good.
Well, I imagine that the bear has this sort of register.
We hear another voice, which seems to be the fox, which, as we come to later, I think we know what this fox sounds like.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what this fox sounds like, but we'll come to that in a bit, because that would be giving it away.
They argue, and the fox seems to have made some sort of mistake, which led to some issue. Eagle shrieks at them to shut up, but by this time, Odd is awake. So Odd finds out that they are gods. Mention here that the eagle cannot screech.
Yeah, so the eagle can't talk in full sentences. The fox and the bear can. The bear basically gets tricked into admitting that they can talk by Odd. But the eagle only shrieks a single word.
Breakfast.
I don't know
bacon, eggs. I want some in my tummy.
That's more words. That eagle's not giving that. That eagle's shrieking, "Shut up!" In fact, he doesn't even say. It doesn't even say shut up. I think it just shouts silence. But I don't know. I don't know if that's because it's very hard to talk as an eagle, or what I think it might be is that it's so annoying that you're like, this is too shrieky. I actually can't. I can't even.
Alright, so the bear is 4. As you can probably tell by that bear. And the eagle is Odin, and the fox is Loki. And we think that the fox would talk like the famous actor from Marvel.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston, who portrays Loki in the Marvel films. I would just like to clarify, I do not think that the bear sounds like Chris Hemsworth, and I do not think that the eagle sounds like Anthony Hopkins, but I do absolutely think that the fox would sound like Tom Hiddleston.
It just suits it. Okay, so the fox was tricked into giving away the Mjolnir, which if you didn't already know, it's Thor's very special hammer. He gets by tying his flying shoes to the handle and then clicking his fingers to make the shoes follow him. So he gets tricked by a fair maid. Well, it's not actually a fair maiden.
But as far as he's concerned, it is a fair maiden. But he in the first instance, he can't carry Mjolnir because it's too heavy for him. So yes, he uses the flying shoes, and that works. And he's able to take it to his fair maiden.
And the fair maiden turns out to be a frost giant. Just some pretty good magic spells.
You've got to be really good at spells, I think, to be a frost giant who's like the size of a hill and then be like shrink down. Oh, that's nice maiden.
Snow White.
Nice maiden whistling. Yeah, okay, I could believe that. Snow White, but she's dressed actually all in white.
Yeah.
That feels more Norse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
With like those. Oh, who's that girl from Star Wars? With that hairstyle going on.
Oh, Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Princess Leia, Danish pastries on the side of her head. Yeah. Okay, we could go for that. Could you please describe the laugh of the frost giant? Because I think this might be one of my favourite descriptions.
So the laugh that the frost giant gives is, quote, like an ice sheet grinding against a mountainside. So, he has some more good spells and turns Loki, Odin, and Thor into animals. I don't get why he turned Odin. Maybe because he's like all-seeing.
Yeah, I think in a lot of Norse mythology, Odin's got pet crows. He's got one eye and he's got pet crows. So there is some like bird things with him. Yeah. And
they turn them into animals. They explain that the frost giants have taken over in Asgard, and that is why the winter won't go away because, there's a quote. Oh, wait, no. I don't actually know if there's a quote.
Yeah, that is a quote.
They are the winter.
Yeah, so they like it cold. They're happy for the winter to be eternal, even though for the
frost.
Yeah, for Midgard, the human realm, that's the case as well.
All right, so Odd cheerfully suggests, as I said, optimistic.
Always.
That they can set off to Asgard in the morning, seem to be unfazed by the whole thing.
Yeah, just doesn't at any point in this book is Odd bothered by anything. Nothing bothers him. He's you could describe him as a little bit oblivious to any sort of anything that goes wrong. But it sounds quite pleasant, to be honest. So our next chapter is called Making Rainbows. So Odd, it's at the beginning of this, is still trying to work out his dad's carving. So we're reminded of the piece of wood, and this is when he explains to Loki his dad's idea about there being something within each piece of wood that's just waiting to be carved, and you're waiting to get rid of the rest.
I mean, to put it that way, that's kind of like
it's quite
reasonable.
Quite a nice idea, isn't it? I quite like it.
Like every blank canvas is waiting to be turned into a masterpiece.
Absolutely. Loki seems, that's fine. But he doesn't seem super interested in it. Thor gets a little bit despondent. He feels that there's no point in this. He's like, well, you're a human with one good leg and we're animals. How can we take on the frost giants? And he goes, why am I even doing this? And Odd goes, well, why are you coming with me? And Thor kind of says, well, I've got nothing better to do. And Odd is still smiling, and Thor, even though he's riding on Thor's back, Thor can kind of sense that. And Thor thinks that this is really weird how this human can be so positive. What they need to find is a rainbow, because that way they can summon the Bifrost, which is the pathway between the worlds in Norse mythology. A rainbow bridge, absolutely.
I want to go on it.
A bit like Mario, but more Norse gods.
Mario.
Yeah, more Norse gods than the Rainbow Road. So they need to be able to find a rainbow, but obviously there is no rain because it's it's a frozen winter. Odd.
Isn't there rain in winter here?
Well, I think here we're so cold that we're not getting any rain. I think we're that level of cold because it's frost giant cold.
Oh yeah, because like here where we live,
yeah,
there's rain in every season, no matter what.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because we are in a temperate climate.
Yeah.
So Odd has an idea and he takes them to a big waterfall, but it turns out that waterfall is frozen. But he thinks that Odd thinks that the rainbows get trapped in the ice, which he's kind of on the right track. So what happens next?
All right, so Loki finds a semi-magical sacrificial flint axe. So that's a mouthful.
That is a real mouthful. So a semi-magical sacrificial flint axe, which I think Loki knows is magical because he's a bit smug when he finds it.
Of course, Loki's smug pretty much always.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston Fox.
So it gets hot while Odd carves the wood to make a sort of prism, which Odd shines on a puddle. And the eagle, showing a real faith, flies straight down into the puddle, which he flies through and into.
Yeah, so just before we finish that, what if, I mean, I guess you could argue that the eagle is Odin, the All-Father, and the most powerful of the Norse gods, and like the all-seeing, but what if Odd was wrong and that eagle just plows into the ground? And that's a very different story.
Yeah, Odin
conks it because he flew into the ground, and thus the end of the gods is there. So, but fortunately for them, that's not what happened. So what does happen to end this out?
Odd for Loki are then pulled into Asgard.
Yeah, so they're pulled in, and that is where we're going to leave it for this episode.
That was quite long.
As I said, we'll split some of these longer books into two parts, and as we tackle longer and longer books, we will aim to keep the episodes under half an hour, and just release them in parts, instead of releasing super long episodes. So we will see you on the next episode.
Right, bye.
Bye.